Changes for Puritan Clothing's Main Street shop, a big agenda for Town Council tonight, and celebrate with the Senior Center Friday morning. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Thursday, January 17th, 2013. I'm Sarah Colvin. Puritan Clothing Company is hoping to change some things about the facade of its building. Co-owner and president Rick Penn made a presentation to the Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission Wednesday night.
The biggest thing that we're doing here is if you see a picture. This is a picture I have here. It's not, you don't have this, unfortunately, but this sign band that says Puritan Clothing, right? That's the biggest thing that you see missing or going away is what happened here. Let me just give you a little background. This building was actually opened in 1929. We actually moved in 1939, and I thought it would just be for interesting. This is the whole building. The part that's in red, I apologize, I should have had this copy, everybody, but the part that was in red was Puritan Clothing back in 1939, so it was about 2,500 square feet. Today, we occupy all of this building except for the green part, which is now Naked Oyster. I bring that up to you because our co-tenant in the early 50s was W.T. Grant. When we took over the space in 1956, they added this. So that sign band that you see on this picture goes from here all the way over to here, to the third window, as you see on this. And so that is the, and so our goal here is to create a design in keeping with the original features of the building. That's number one. This building is a beautiful building built in 1929. Again, in 1956, we added, the sign band was added. You see the beautiful coins, and again, I'm going to let Chris and Linda go on to the details. But our first goal is to restore this back to the, to the 1920s, the original beauty of the building, 1929.
Penn further describes the plan.
One of the things we found is that the door on the far west end of the building, we basically flip-flopped that from the original design. So you see, it used to be window door, now it's door window. So that's one thing. Why do we do that? Again, I will let Linda and Chris get into more details, but what they've explained to me is for construction purposes and support purposes, it's a much better configuration for us to put the door there. After we turned this in on December 20th, further review with the engineer, this was decided. And again, I will let the experts, get into much more detail on why is that. The second thing is just material change. Again, we have asked Chris and Linda to take a building that in 1929 that was modified in 1956 and bring it back to it and get materials to match this building from 1929. And I think today you'll find they've done a wonderful job. But since December 20th, again, you'll see in more detail the accent bands. These here, exactly same spot, same location. But originally when we turned it in, we put in help me out here, a concrete, and now it's going to be changed to limestone. So we're going from concrete to limestone. It's a material change, but same location, same accent bands. But again, Linda and Chris feel this is a much better match than what's currently there. The second is the brick veneer. Again, this is all brick building. Again, the vendor went very, very difficult, but they believe they've got a better brick veneer that will match it. Again, she'll have the materials here tonight for you to see. And also the sill eventually was changed from a concrete to limestone again.
The HHDC approved the plans as presented, but voted to continue for signage and lighting. That will be heard at a later date. Meanwhile, it's a big night tonight for Town Council with a workshop and many agenda items on the table. Council President Dr. Deborah Dagwan outlines some of the orders of the day.
Which is to amend a zoning ordinance requested of us by the Hyannis Water Board to protect our groundwater and wells from any contamination by commercial fertilizing, and to bring the ordinance into alignment with the Department of Environmental Protection's regulations set forth by the state. But we also have, there will also be a continuation of the hearings that we had on the 5 ordinances on December the 6th. And those ordinances deal with problem properties, which was Chapter 160, Chapter 54, property maintenance, Chapter 133, the noise ordinance, and Chapter 59, comprehensive occupancy, and Chapter 170, the rental code. Now, we had a workshop just last week on the problem property ordinance, and feel we made some progress there. So we are amending the administrative code to establish an appeals committee to accompany that problem property ordinance.
The joint Town Council School Committee workshop will lead off the meeting. Dagwan says the budget will be discussed, but first, school safety.
They will be meeting with us also to address some security issues around the school safety as a follow-up from what happened in Connecticut. And so I think there were some parents and the community that was concerned about how the school was addressing the issue, and I think our superintendent will speak on that tonight, as well as talk about some of their budget issues.
The council will also discuss an appeals board for the problem property ordinances, an idea that came about as a result of last week's workshop.
Initially, it was written so that the town manager would address any appeals, or his designee would designate a committee of 3. And the council felt that we wanted to have more of the everyday person, the resident, be a part of the committee to address appeals in their particular neighborhood. And so we're looking to establish some kind of maybe a standing committee, standing appeals committee, to address any appeals that come in. So it gives any problem property owner an opportunity to plead their case before a group of their peers.
Town Council meets tonight at 7 in the Town Hall hearing room. Tomorrow morning, the Barnstable Senior Center will celebrate the completion of its lobby renovation. Director of Senior Services Madeline Noonan talks about the benefits of the newly revamped lobby.
I mean, literally, no sooner was the lobby complete than, we saw people, sit down at tables, either just to play a game of Scrabble, share a cup of coffee, read a book, read the newspaper. It was just instant. Like, we didn't have to encourage anybody to go in there. As soon as it took shape, people just automatically went in and made themselves comfortable, and that was wonderful for us. I mean, the other things that we did to improve the area were we installed a wall. It's a beautiful glass wall, so it keeps the openness that was so nice about the space, but it really gives it its own separate, area. It feels more defined. Also, another benefit is it prevents the cold air that comes in the colder months. There's always a cold blast of air every time the door opens, which is many times throughout the day. It helps buffer that. And then we also installed 2 beautiful custom-made display units for the crafters group at the Senior Center, who, as we've discussed many times in the past, raise thousands of dollars each year for the Senior Center, and that gave them a much, more beautiful, brighter space to show off all of their handmade items, and business has increased for them. I mean, it's sort of like they have, premium space when you walk into the center. You see their cases with all of the items.
The lobby reception is open to the public. It begins at 10 o'clock. Friday morning. A quick reminder, if you haven't gotten your flu shot, the final clinic for Barnstable residents is being held Tuesday from 8 to noon at the HYCC. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.